Mark Evers. Give you a 1 minute warning. He'll be here in a minute. Yeah, he is. So it's just a few of us. I'm waiting. I'd like to call the meeting of January 5th, 2026 to order at 6 p.m. Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to ask Pastor Taylor Ford to come up and do the invocation, please.
Father, we look to you at the beginning of this year. We thank you, God, that you are faithful, like the Bible says, every morning to give us a new opportunity and new days. And thank you for this new year, a new opportunity to love and serve our city. And thank you for what it says in Micah chapter 6, verse 8, that we would love mercy, we would act justly and walk humbly with you. God, I pray that would be just the cry of our hearts, that we would love justice and righteousness and the things that are right. We would love those things, and we would want to walk compassionately alongside of people that might be hurting or might be going through difficult times. We would walk alongside of them with compassion. But then at the end of the day, would we be known as people that walk humbly with you and ask you to guide and lead us? And so that's what we do in this meeting. Would you guide us and lead us in this time? Lord, we pray for Mayor Bowman as she begins her term. Thank you for her. We pray wisdom over her. And we thank you, God, that you will just do good things in and through her as she submits to you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen and amen.
Thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Elfers?
Here? You have to turn it on.
Hochstetter?
Here?
Kenna? Excuse me. Wilsey?
Here. Here.
Thank you.
All right, so we will move forward with the oath of office. Will the clerk please swear in the judge?
Okay. You raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Anique Berry,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of the State of Washington.
of the State of Washington.
That I will comply with the municipal code and all ordinances
I will comply with the municipal code and all ordinances
of the City of Sumner.
of the City of Sumner.
That I will faithfully and impartially
That I will faithfully and impartially
perform the duties of the office of municipal court judge,
perform the duties of the office of the municipal court judge
as such duties are prescribed by law.
as such duties are prescribed by law.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I,
for the city of Sumner. Do you want me to get closer? Can you hear this?
I can hear.
All right. I
I, Mark Evers.
I, Greg Renke.
I, Matthew Kenna.
thank you. Swear that I will support the Constitution
Swear that I will support the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington
and all local ordinances,
and all local ordinances,
that I will, to the best of my ability,
that I will, to the best of my ability,
diligently and impartially,
diligently and impartially,
perform the duties of
perform the duties of
the office of council member
the office of council member
for the city of Sumner,
for the city.
I talk loud. Got it. Thank you. Thanks, you guys. Will the clerk please read the consent agenda?
Item number 1, approval of the minutes from the November 17th, 2025 regular council meeting and special study session, the November 24th, 2025 special council meeting, and the December 1st, 2025 regular meeting. Item number 2, approval of the checks and electronic payments in the amount of $4,123,709.13.
Thank you. Councilmember Elfers, would you please make a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
I'm raising my hand.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the consent agenda for January 5th, 2026.
Is there a second? Got it. Okay, it has been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Would any council member wish to remove an item? Thank you. All right.
Mayor, would you like to vote on that?
Yes, please, can we vote?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
All right, it's passed unanimous, thank you. All right. For public hearing, there isn't one tonight. So we will move on to regular business. Unfinished business, there is nothing tonight. So public comment. Michelle, will you please read the rules for public comment?
When the mayor or clerk calls your name, please step up to the podium. You will have 3 minutes to speak. If you're not signed in, please begin by stating your name and the city in which you reside for the record. This portion of the meeting is an opportunity for the council to hear from the community. It is not a time for questions, dialogue, or to have a back and forth discussion. At the mayor's discretion, questions raised during the public comment may be referred to an appropriate staff member for a response outside of the meeting. And the lectern microphone is on, so you do not have to worry about that.
Thank you.
And the first person that we have on the sign-up sheet is Tina Burnett, Sumner, Washington.
Well, some new faces. Happy New Year. New council, new mayor. Congratulations to everybody who ran for office. Andy, you lucked out. Didn't have to run against anybody, or didn't even have to run. So congratulations to everybody. It was a hard-fought season of elections. It was, if I said or did anything to anybody that hurt anyone's feelings, or, I apologize. It was a tough battle all around. So congratulations. And I have an apology, a mea culpa, I guess, unrelated. Last summer, when right outside my window I could watch the city tearing out the daffodils in the crosswalk, we asked why. We were told because it's illegal, and that's all we were told. Well, after some digging around, I found out it had nothing to do with the city, nothing to do with the county, nothing to do with the state. Donald Trump ordered all decorative crosswalks in the country to be demolished, and because he really wanted to get rid of the Black Lives Matter crosswalk in Washington, D.C. But he issued an executive order in the name of safety, get rid of all the decorative sidewalks. And so, mea culpa, I wasn't getting an answer from the city other than it's illegal, but we did find out who was responsible. And our little daffodils are nothing compared to what other cities lost. Lubbock, Texas had this gorgeous home of Buddy Holly eyeglasses that were in the crosswalk. It was so wonderful, so big, they had to demolish it. The Pulse nightclub had rainbows crosswalks memorializing the loss at Pulse nightclub. They had to be demolished all across the country. So if I attached any blame to the city, I apologize. It wasn't the city's fault, county fault, state fault. It was the president's fault. So that's why we can't have nice things. But anyway, thank you. And congratulations, and let's hope this is a really good year.
The next person is Randall Adams, Sumner, Washington.
I too congratulate everyone here. Thank you very much for your service. Last meeting, Councilmember Hostetter shared his love for his hometown and encouraged public-private partnerships, noting that there is nothing in the community that cannot be accomplished together. This is the spirit that makes Sumner thrive. Those are the same thoughts that I had for 54 years, until 2.5 years ago when the city staff decided to act illegally, dishonestly, immorally, and physically shoved a citizen who asked questions in an open house. Yet staff continues to act secretly and bypass the city council as shown by their actions of last year. It was disclosed that staff and maybe the mayor had approved of a lithium battery storage facility, better known as a BEST site, at the old Derringer Gymnasium without ever consulting or bringing that information and decision to the city council to vote on. When there was an educational display at the site for the public to learn about what was going on, city staff restricted the council to only 3 members being able to attend, making sure that a quorum of 4 was not there to be educated or ask questions about the site. Staff did not want any coordinated pushback from council standing in the way of this risky endeavor and the revenue that staff craves. Despite that, every locality in the state of Washington is turning down BEST sites because of their danger. Then as a further insult to the council, staff proposed an ordinance that gives guidelines for a best site to comply with, and even used the Derringer site as an example of how that court ordinance was to be applied. The only problem was it was a sleight of hand trick, as the ordinance does not apply to the grandfathered best site, which does not even comply with the ordinance. An ordinance should have been in place, and an open conversation with council and in front of the whole city should have happened before that site was approved. Compare those restrictions to the council versus the trip to Kenmore for all of the council and over 35 citizens to show you what staff had planned to do with the proposed $11.6 million Canal Block Heritage Park. The $11.6 million cost breakdown has never been disclosed, not even in a pro forma estimate, and was promoted for 2 years as factually correct. It simply is a bait and switch project. Everyone was taken there intending to create great optimism of what is possible and to put pressure on the council to approve what staff had been planning behind closed doors for some time. Council even had to ask how much it would cost after watching a presentation. After being told $22 million for the stages 3 and 4, you were immediately asked to approve an effort to seek grants. No time for discussion, no time for feedback, no time for contemplation, just a quick, hard sales job to let staff try and find grants that they know will not fully fund the 3-story building, whatever its name is going to be. How are those extra costs going to be funded? You will not be able to walk away from that unfinished project like you did the Ryan House. To me, those two events glaringly show the disrespect staff has for our elected leaders.
Sir, your time is up. And Mayor, there are no other people who have signed up. Is there anybody that has signed up on Zoom?
Okay, thank you. So we will move on to new business. Ordinance number 2949, franchise agreement with Forged Fiber 37 LLC. Councilmember Kenna, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 2949, franchise agreement with Forged Fiber 37 LLC.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Mayor, who made the second?
I'd like to call on City Attorney Andrea Marquez.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good evening. Welcome. Before you tonight is Ordinance 2949. This is a franchise agreement between the City of Sumner and Forged Fiber. Is it not on? Okay. Sorry about that. Franchise agreement is a license to use city right-of-way for the transmission or building out or construction of a public utility. And in this particular instance, it's for fiber. These are extremely common agreements. The city has many with many different agencies. Examples are PSE and Comcast and FatBeam and Ziply. Forged Fiber 37 LLC is a subsidiary of AT&T, and they have purchased a portion of Lumen's assets within the City of Sumner. The franchise agreement essentially allows the same Lumen infrastructure to remain in place, but will now be owned by AT&T instead of Lumen. It maintains the status quo as far as the facilities go, the street poles that you see out there, but also authorizes AT&T to expand and maintain this infrastructure. The franchise mirrors the same terms as the recently adopted Ziply fiber franchise, so it's equitable and consistent among other providers in Sumner, and that is a requirement of federal law. The FCC requires equitable and consistent terms. The term is for 10 years. It grants a non-exclusive use of city right-of-way for that term. And being a franchise holder is, it's not a permit. It is a right to use the right-of-way, and at every juncture and every build-out, they have to come in and get separate permits for each phase. So the first reading of this ordinance happened on December 1st. By law, franchise agreements require 2 readings, so tonight is the second and final reading of this ordinance. There is an opportunity for public comment, and I'd be happy to answer any questions after that.
Are there any comments from the public? Anyone on Zoom? No? Okay, any comments from the council? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Evers?
Yes.
Wilsey?
Yes.
Elfers?
Yes.
Canna?
Yes.
Hochstetter?
Yes.
Ranky?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Passed unanimous, thank you. Resolution number 1737, confirming emergency proclamation, flood emergency, December 2025. Councilmember Ranky, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to pass resolution number 1737, confirming emergency proclamation flood emergency, December 2025.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Councilmember Wilsey with the second. I'd like to call on City Attorney Andrea Marquez and City Administrator Jason Wilson.
Thank you. So I'll tee it up procedurally, and then Jason has a presentation tonight about the events that occurred in December. So Resolution 1737 serves two purposes. It first asks council to confirm the declared emergency that Mayor Hayden declared in December, and it places a formal termination date on that same declaration. Sumner's Code grants the mayor authority during an emergency to declare an emergency, which allows staff to act quickly and promptly to address the emergency in whatever form or fashion that needs to occur. It allows for more streamlined procurement rules, and it allows staff to be reassigned temporarily to cover whatever the city needs. The code then requires that the city council confirm the mayor's declaration at the very next available council meeting. So that is tonight. Jason Wilson has a presentation about the flood event so that council can better understand the rationale behind the declared emergency and how the city responded. So I'll turn it over to him before we open it up for public comment, and then we'd be happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Andrea. Good evening, Council. Jason Wilson, your city administrator. The event in December was unlike any flood that our city has experienced in the last 30-plus years. If you talk to the Northwest Weather Service, they classified this a 250-year event. So it's definitely a significant response required by our city. It actually posed an unprecedented risk to our manufacturing industrial center, something we've never seen. Like I said, while flooding has occurred periodically over the last 30 years, it's never threatened our manufacturing industrial center the way this did. There's a lot of reasons for that. As you know, we have two rivers in town. We have the Puyallup River, which is an uncontrolled river through our city, and then eventually goes into the levee systems and then out through the Port of Tacoma out to the Puget Sound. And then we have the White River. And the White River is actually controlled by the Mud Mountain Dam project. And the whole purpose of the Mud Mountain Dam is to control flows in the White River to protect downstream after it merges with the Puyallup. So to keep the Puyallup River within its levee system to protect not only the Puyallup and Tacoma areas, but also the Port of Tacoma all the way out to the Sound. So when we have big atmospheric river events that occur back to back, a lot of times what we see is we see some early flooding on the Puyallup, and then we have a secondary event that follows right with the White. This one, we saw those atmospheric rivers come back to back really close to each other before the Puyallup had adequate time to recede. At the same time, we saw unprecedented amounts of rain that fell in the Cascades. And that rain, was held back by the Mud Mountain Dam. And for the first time, since I've been here, and I've been here 20 years, and I've talked to a couple other employees that have been here longer than me, you had the Army Corps of Engineers saying, well, wait a second, we're getting so much water behind the dam, we can't hold it all. We're going to have to release. So the Army Corps of Engineers very early on in this said, if the rains really come like we expect them, you're going to see unprecedented releases out of the Mud Mountain Dam. A little bit of perspective, we typically start getting a little nervous when we see flows over 6,000 cubic feet per second out of the dam. That's kind of where they like to hold it in typical events. Early on, they told us expect anywhere from 10 to 12,000 CFS out of the dam, which we gained about another 1,500 cubic feet per second between the dam and Sumner. So at those levels, I mean, that's twice what we start saying, we could have some impacts here. So very early on when we had that, we started planning and responding and getting prepared for that amount of water. Because when we look at our inundation maps, we are expecting water through a good portion of our manufacturing industrial center south of 16th Street, as well as potentially into residential neighborhoods off of 29th Street. That's just from the White River. We also had the issues in the Puyallup, which did impact some of the residences down there, as well as 410 Highway. So we operated our emergency operations center for nearly 2 weeks. We actually had 24-hour coverage in the emergency operations center Wednesday through Friday, the 10th through the 12th. We also had staffing here 24 hours a day during that period. And we also staffed up on the weekend on the 13th and 14th to make sure we had staff available to respond to the extremely high White River levels. This was something that the response and the anticipated amount of water was changing hourly. We'd had different calls with the Army Corps throughout the day on what they were experiencing, King County, what they were experiencing in Pierce County, and it required a lot of flexibility. We had to be flexible, be very nimble, and continually evaluate, are we responding the best way possible to protect life and property. What's interesting about this is the first time we've operated an emergency operations center at this scale in the last 5 or so years. And really the investment in technology helped us respond better. In the last 5 years, as you know, we've expanded our city facility security camera system to provide security for our facilities. What that did, it allowed us to see real time where the water was at near our new operations facility on 29th. It allowed us to see where the water was at around our wastewater treatment facility. So that allowed the EOC to see real time without having to send somebody out and try to describe it over a phone or maybe email a photo, which was great. We also utilized staff. They were able to use Microsoft Teams to immediately, essentially FaceTime is how that works, if you're familiar with Apple FaceTime, to show, where water was infiltrating our storm system, where it was, impacting residences, and allowed our engineering department to make real-time assessments and decisions in a much more effective and timely manner. And then our police department drone program definitely supported us. They flew the river a couple times, as well as our neighboring agencies flew a drone, helped us look at where water was flowing and helped us make decisions on how to respond and then assess damages. This really was a citywide staff effort. As Andrea mentioned, under the emergency proclamation, we're allowed to use staff in any way that we deem necessary to respond to the emergency. We have 140 staff here. I would say somewhere in the neighborhood of 90 staff were actively involved responding to this emergency during this period in every single department. They were asked to do things that they do not normally do, and I got to say, everybody did so with a smile and did so in a very positive manner. Our focus the entire time was on life and safety and infrastructure protection, and then making sure that we also were still responding to the 911 calls that we were getting that were not flood related, or the utility issues that were not flood related. All that was still going on in the background. Incredibly proud of our staff on this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through different departments. I'm not going to cover, this presentation is not meant to cover everything that these departments did during the emergency response, but it's to highlight some of the big things that these departments did. So I'll start with our operations department. First off, before the flooding started, but that week, they repaired existing HESCO protection along the Menke property. A HESCO, think of it as a very large sandbag that you fill. It's roughly, the ones we were using are 4 feet square and then 4 feet tall. And you use them, you link them together, and that provides protection from the water flowing into businesses and places where you don't want water to go. They also installed 1,500, a little over 1,500 feet of new temporary HESCO flood protection. And you can see that there on the picture. That is about 2/3 of what they installed. That was a multi-day process to get that done. Actually required over 1,000 cubic yards of sand. That is a lot of sand, and I'll go ahead and get into that more in just a minute. Operations also was responsible for filling over 2,000 sandbags. They pumped clogged storm drains, as well as created evacuation maps and property contact lists. Communications. Early and often, we were out there communicating with our public in many, many different ways, through our social media channels, through our website, through e-news, and through also PC Alerts, which is the Pierce County Emergency Alert System. That was all coordinated with our communications department. We actually, we have a communication staff of 2, but we augmented that with staff from our community development and police department that helped us not only post on social media, but read the comments and respond as best we could. And communications, one of the things we kept open 24 hours a day, made sure that they had somebody in the EOC all night long to help provide real-time information. One of the stats I found interesting, and I'm sure this has gone up since then, but a couple days later, we looked at our meta stats, which is for Facebook and Instagram. We're also on X, we're also on our website and whatnot, but 4.1 million meta views in 2 days. That's a lot. Okay, so you're thinking you're scrolling and you're getting those things. Maybe it's not as much. But what I found even better is 917,000 unique viewers. Okay, so almost 1 million unique viewers of our social media channel that week. It included us gaining more followers, which is good all the way around for other things that the city does. And we had 33,000 people interact with our posts too. So like reply, repost, et cetera. So incredibly proud of our communications department. Got a lot of compliments from the public on how they responded to this incident. Next, our wastewater treatment facility. I'd like to say this is as high as the water got, but no, we have pictures that show the water higher than this. But definitely, if you're not familiar with our wastewater treatment facility, it's located at the confluence of the Puyallup and White Rivers. This was closer to when the Puyallup was cresting, not the White. They installed our flood wall along the entrance to make sure that the site was protected. Whenever we installed a flood wall, we essentially turned the wastewater treatment facility into an island. As you know, State Street is a little low there. The water comes over and blocks the road. So between the water blocking the road as well as the flood wall going in, our staff only have one way in and one way out of this facility off of the 410 Traffic Avenue off-ramp. So, which is good sometimes, but it's very difficult because if you're leaving here and you need to go to the wastewater treatment facility, you got to go all the way into Puyallup and loop back around. It takes quite a bit of time. They manage a significant amount of water, way more than that than they see on a daily basis, and they were able to treat all of it to ensure that no untreated water went into the rivers, which is phenomenal. They also assisted our operations department with storm system pumping of neighborhoods that were seeing their storm systems be overcome by the amount of water. Engineering. As soon as we saw that the water was going to come up this high, we worked with our White River Restoration Project engineers to determine, okay, if we got extra HESCOs from the Army Corps, which we did, where do we best put those to protect as much property that we could? And I really want to give a shout out to NSD, which is our White River Restoration engineering firm. They dropped everything. They remodeled river flows. They said, okay, if the water's this high, where does it go? They did all that hydro mapping for us in a very short amount of time. Then our engineers used that to develop their own plan of, okay, if we end up with 500 feet of HESCO, if we end up with 1,000 feet of HESCO, how do we accomplish what we can? And they did a phenomenal job there. Secured over 1,000 yards of sand. That's a lot of sand. And then where do you put it once you get it here? We closed roads to put sand on. That's over 50 double dump trucks that showed up in less than a day that we had to figure out where to put all this sand to fill those HESCOs as well as some sandbags. They inspected problem areas when we started seeing leakage through levee systems as well as storm systems to figure out where the water was coming from. They evaluated the Stewart Road Bridge for impacts and managed its safety closure. A couple of pictures you're looking at, the bottom one is actually the Stewart Road Bridge abutment. We saw that because the water was coming up, that it was coming up against the bridge abutment, we need to bring an extra rock to protect that, and that's what that lower picture is. It's interesting. The bottom picture, if you look in I don't have a pointer, but you can see the old Stewart Road Bridge there, and you can see how high the water is, and it got much higher than that. But that's a water main that runs through there, and that's one of the reasons why we're replacing the Stewart Road Bridge. A little hard to tell here from the height, but there's some other pictures on our social media that you can see. But that top line where you see those probably 2x6s there, that is the new bridge level, so much higher than our existing bridge. The top picture, you may have heard on the news that in the city of Pacific, they had a levee breach. Of course, it happened about 1:30ish in the morning. Luckily, our EOC was open, so we were responding and helping them. You know, a number of us got called and woken up in the middle of the night because of it, because we're here to help our neighbors, right? They've helped us, we're helping them as much as we can. But the water, overcame into Pacific, went down Butte Avenue, and we had to help get that water away from our project. So our contractor helped dig that channel and divert water from the city of Pacific back into the river and away from our project too. Our police department, before our EOC went 24/7, they are really our eyes and ears out in the field. Not only do they secure roadways and manage those closures, but they monitor the rivers. We obviously have warning levels that we get alerts on when the river gets to certain points. But sometimes it's good to go out and put your eyes on it because, as you all know, rivers fill up with sediment. Things change every year. You think you know where the water is, but you need to go out there and check on it. So they're great at doing that. That picture there is from the Retreat Apartments. That's a private flood wall system that they own, and they deploy when the Puyallup gets to certain levels. It lays flat until the water hits it, then it starts filling up. You can see it's starting to fill up there. They also, as I mentioned earlier, they use their drone to help fly the route and check for damage. Finance and IT department, our finance department staffed our EOC phones. They track expenditures. What's also unique is when we went to a level 3 evacuation down in Rainier Manor, we had a lot of staff building HESCOs. We had staff dealing with other issues. We went upstairs. We said, hey, everybody grab your coat, get in a car. You're going out there to help us evacuate. And without a second, they just grabbed their stuff and went door to door in Rainier Manor to help us evacuate, along with our police department, along with some of our other engineering staff. So I really appreciate that. IT department, a lot of technology goes into the EOC. Things always don't go how you always plan, right? We operate the Emergency Operations Center out of this room. This is not our EOC. Our EOC had a training class being conducted in it all week. So we were in this room, and it worked fine, but they had to add extra cameras and monitors and make sure that printers were configured and phones, et cetera. So appreciate that. Our emergency management manager, Evan Brazitas, he coordinated the EOC operations and agency communication. He spent a lot of time coordinating between Pierce County DEM, the Army Corps of Engineers, the Northwest Weather Service, and making sure that we're all going in the same direction. Legal department, they drafted the emergency declaration, reviewed acquisitions as well. And then our community development services, they worked on our planning division, and they really helped document all of everything going on in our operational period, as well as doing logistics, so securing equipment, like from barricades to signs to additional HESCOs and super SACs. They helped with all of that. I think it's important to talk about the White River Restoration Project. As you know, we are in the middle of phase 2 construction of that. This year, we excavated 1 million cubic yards of dirt from that. And I can't say this, we are so lucky we did that this year, because all of this water would not have been in the restoration project, it would have been elsewhere. So it's just amazing. It's an early test of the project that has some consequences too. So this is, if you're familiar, the road that's kind of half shown, half not, that's 24th Street, the old 24th Street. Up above that is the tail race, and then you can look further north up towards Stewart Road, and you can see how much water was in there, and it got higher than this as well. These are kind of early photos. And then this is looking south. The 29th Street neighborhood is that house you see on the bottom right. This is taken today, actually. So the water's receding, which is good. Still a lot of water in the project. We did sustain some damage to the project that we're going to have to go back and fix. While we had, excavated 1 million cubic yards, we had rerouted the number 9 ditch, we had, put in these anti-branch channels. They weren't all connected. They weren't planted for security. So all this has to be reevaluated. Some work is going to have to be redone, and we'll be tracking those expenses and making decisions later on how to best fix those, and if it would be appropriate to seek federal dollars through our disaster recovery funds that will likely be open. Also want to thank our regional partners. Man, we could not have built that HESCO wall without the city of Bonnie Lake. Without hesitating, they provided 6 staff per day, 12-hour days for 3 days straight to augment our crews in filling that HESCOs. And we had water. The river didn't come quite as high as the Army Corps said it was going to. Nonetheless, we had water against those HESCOs for several days. And without those, we would have seen water into some of our industrial properties. They also provided, when we had to close the Stewart Road Bridge for about a week, they provided one of their detour signs at the top of the hill to try to warn people that, hey, Stewart Road is closed. Plan your routes accordingly. Puyallup, that orange big rectangle thing is their 12-inch pump. That pump can power their wastewater treatment facility. When we had water that was about ready to flood residences up in the 29th Street neighborhood, they loaned that to us. And then we rented the pipe to go with it from a vendor up in Federal Way, and we were able to completely suck that storm system clean with that in a matter of minutes, and huge help to us. That pump went on to help pump out neighborhoods in Auburn a couple days later. Pacific, early on, they provided some drone footage of Stewart Road Bridge for us. That helped us make the decision that we had to close the bridge for safety reasons. Pierce County Department of Emergency Management issued multiple Pierce County alerts. They provided filled sandbags as well as other supplies for sandbagging. And then Auburn also provided detour signage at the top of Lakeland Drive to make sure that cars knew that Stewart Road was closed and they had to detour to East Valley. We also had, I didn't even put on here, but WashDOT and Washington State Patrol helped with 410 closures as well as evaluating other 162 closures that may have been necessary. And then we need to thank the Army Corps of Engineers. Very timely and improved communication on Mud Mountain outflows. That's been a challenge in some other high water events. They did a phenomenal job this year communicating with us in real time as best they could. And then our community really stepped up. We had volunteers from the high school football team as well as the LDS church that made a lot of sandbags for us. And some of those sandbags stayed here locally. Other sandbags went to help in the city of Pacific when they had their levee breach. So nothing went wasted. If you're watching this at home or even here in this room and you have storm damage, Pierce County is asking you to report that damage to them. Why that's important is the county is the repository for all storm damage, and then that gets aggregated up to the state, and that's where a decision is made whether a federal emergency declaration is made. And that if a federal emergency declaration is made, that does release, typically it releases funds back to the communities to help recover from these type of weather events. So there's a phone number up there as well as a website. But wait, there's more. Of course, this happened in December when things are supposed to be kind of slowing down for the holidays, but they didn't. Monday of that week, we're operating a kind of a EOC on one side of the room, but we are also doing a very large cybersecurity tabletop exercise. This is something that we do annually to make sure that we are ready for cyber threats that may attack our city. It was a multi-hour tabletop exercise, which is not as common. And it was actually in coordination with CISA and the FBI. CISA, I had to write it down because I know I'll forget what it stands for. It's Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. So the federal government actually came in and ran this tabletop exercise for it. Mayor Bowman was present. Quite in-depth and going on while we were also responding to a flood. Then on Tuesday, we had our employee recognition breakfast. So we had all of our employees over at the Senior Center. We recognize them for their years of service as well as other awards and recognition. We also had many public events that week. The Chamber of Commerce held their annual legislative breakfast as well as their mingle and jingle. Staff did not attend those. We were represented by elected leaders then. And then Mayor Hayden had her farewell open house that week during the response. But even more important, we did Toy Box. So if you're not familiar, the police department, in cooperation with East Pierce Fire, the Gordon Family YMCA, and the school district, they every year deliver toys and food for families in need. And this year, even with the floodwaters, literally about 100 yards away from where they were doing this distribution, they distributed food and toys to over 500 families. And I just want to thank our police department for sticking with that and pulling that off during a very, very busy week. So that is a very high-level summary. Like I said, it's not meant to go into everything. We are still going through our documentation, lessons learned, et cetera, and we'll be continuing that process for several more weeks. But I'm happy to answer any questions that council has. And before you vote, Mayor, you do need to accept public comment on this as well.
Are there any comments from the public? Anyone on Zoom? Oh, there are. All right.
I'd like to thank Jason for connecting all of the dots for us, because we could see that they were just working their tails off trying to protect all of us, and it was flawless. Any of you, if you went out and looked in the middle of the valley in the White River Reclamation Project and saw how much water that thing was holding, that was scary. That was scary. That was close to the railroad tracks. So anyway, I just wanted to say thank you. And even
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone on Zoom? Please raise your hand and turn on your camera feature if there is. Nobody? Okay, thank you. Any comments from the council? Go ahead, Councilmember Kennett.
I too was going to just echo my thanks to staff and all the partners. The great relationships we built have obviously, paid off in a time of need, and we've given that back to some of our partners as well. But I just want to say thank you very much. You guys put in so many hours, really hard labor. As you alluded to, Jason, it's a time where you're hoping for some downtime, some relaxation. It's December. The holidays are coming up. Our high school football team just won the state championship, I think, and then the next week they were doing sandbags. So it just really shows that the community did whatever they could in small and large ways. But commend you and your staff for just a job well done. So thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Rankin.
Yeah, I just also want to say thank you, too, to the city staff and stuff. I have been there and done that, so I know what it's like. And I actually was here 30-plus years ago when we lost a few mobile home parks, totally. So that's a tough job. I did come by the EOC a couple times just to, not to get in their way, but just to visit and make sure everything was kosher. But I was curious, too, and I don't know if you even can tell me this, Jason, but have we run any cost estimates about roughly what this event's going to, because it's not free, of course, but any kind of dollar amount, or is that going to take a while to get?
It's going to take a while to get, but I'll tell you that it's definitely north of 200,000.
Yeah. And then some of this might be reimbursed by
some of it might be, yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Councilmember Elfers.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, did anybody's houses or anything, was there property damage, private property damage that you're aware of, or are you still waiting to hear?
I'm not aware of any personal property damage.
Okay. And that's one thing I wanted to just say thank you for that, because I feel like when I was tracking this, that the city was very well organized. I really appreciate that we have relationships with the region, like Bonnie Lake and Puyallup and Pacific, and Pierce County and Auburn. Is pretty impressive to be able to collaborate on something like this. So I really appreciate that we are able to have those relationships. And I thank you for the EOC. I think we have just recently created that, right? I forget the gentleman is. I should know.
We recently hired a full-time emergency manager who also not only does emergency management for us, but also does employee safety. So yeah, that's a new position about 2 years ago.
Yeah, so I thought we were well prepared, and I appreciate your leadership and the leadership of the EOC, so thank you for that.
Yep.
Councilmember Kenna.
Yeah, Jason, on the back of what Greg kind of asked about maybe federal funding for, and resources, I know that the federal government did approve the governor's declaration of an emergency. Does that then, I know you mentioned something about Pierce County, like damage, and, that we still have to get that kind of maybe certified or approved at some level to then maybe get funding. But what are the mechanics of, since we had that certified, that declaration of emergency, does that then say like, okay, once we, get all our ducks in a row, account for everything, that's, we have a good shot at that? Because I do know that the federal government does look at some states, some areas, and decides it doesn't want to play ball in terms of their emergencies. So can you kind of
I'll do the
share some
best I
information?
can.
Okay. I know that was kind of an everywhere question.
Yeah, no. So what happens next is we all have to report our damages. So once the governor signed the emergency declaration, the federal government said, yep, okay, looks like it's good. Now we're in this reporting period where we have to document all of our damage. And then if it hits a threshold, that's when FEMA may step in and help release funds. I can tell you, regardless of the event, these typically take 5 or more years to get these funds back from the federal government. Just based on prior reimbursements from FEMA that we've tried to get for previous floods, it's not a quick process. Most typically, it's no regular hours, no regular staff time hours is reimbursable, which I can understand that. So it's overtime hours, and it's actual damage or equipment and supplies. And it's a very lengthy process. Mm-hmm.
Anyone else? Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Hochstetter?
Yes.
Kenna?
Yes.
Wilsey?
Yes.
Ranky?
Yes.
Elfers?
Yes.
Evers?
Yes.
Passed 6-0.
Thank you. All right, so now we will move on to the election of deputy mayor. So I will call on City Administrator Jason Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor. At the beginning of every calendar year, your council rules require you to elect a deputy mayor. It's set out, the deputy mayor's role and responsibility is really to serve as the mayor and chair meetings or sign documents if the mayor is unable to do so. The deputy mayor is elected to a 1-year term, and it's supposed to be done at the first regular council meeting in January every single year. So the way that this works is the mayor will open the floor for nominations. Nominations do not require a second. At the conclusion of nominations, the mayor will ask for a motion to close nominations. And once that happens, then a majority of the vote of the council is required. So then you'll take another vote by roll call, and you will state the name of the person, of whoever was nominated, one of the nominees, to be your deputy mayor. So once again, just to review that, the mayor is going to open the floor for nominations. A second is not required. At the conclusion of nominations, the mayor will ask for a motion to close nominations in a second, and then a majority vote of council is required to close that. And then I'll brief you on the next step again when we get there. So Mayor, I'll turn it over to you for nominations.
I will now entertain nominations for deputy mayor. And as stated, there's no need for a second.
Yeah, I'd like to go ahead and nominate Councilmember Elfers.
All right. Do I have a motion to close the nominations?
I'll make a motion to close nominations.
That was Council Member, I want to call him Greg, sorry, Ranky. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. So this is for.
I'm sorry, Mayor, excuse me, who made the motion to second?
Second was made by Councilmember Kenna. Thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Elfers?
Once again, council, this is a vote to conclude the nomination process. So it's a yes or no vote at this point.
Yes.
Frankie?
Yes.
Evers?
Yes.
Hochstetter?
Yes.
Wilsey?
Yes.
Kenna?
Yes.
Is there anyone in the audience or participating via Zoom that would like to comment? If you're on Zoom, please use the raise your hand feature and turn on your camera. All right. When the clerk calls your name, please state the name of the person you wish to vote for. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Frankie?
Elfers.
Kenna?
Elfers.
Elfers?
Elfers.
Wilsey?
Elfers.
Hochstetter?
Elfers.
Evers?
Okay, Elfers.
Congratulations.
Okay, congratulations, Deputy Mayor Elpers. Thank you. Next, we will move on to the 2026-2027 committee selection. I would like to call on City Administrator Jason Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor. And, you know, I should have remembered that I should always give a warning. This is one of the most awkward meetings that you'll have this year. I promise you. This is something we do once. Well, we do committees every 2 years and Deputy Mayor only once a year. And it's always kind of awkward. So it's okay. We'll get through it. All right, council committees. So as for the public and for a reminder of council, we use a committee system to review legislation or policy items that are moving their way towards adoption or consideration of adoption. We have several different committees that we ask council members to sit on, and some items are just heard at committee and other items are then progressed further on to council for consideration. So I'm going to go through each committee and then we'll go through the process of how you select your committees. So Finance and Personnel Committee, they're charged with considering appropriations, finances, taxes, revenues, technology systems, labor relations, personnel, and other benefits or insurance. Also the state audit, your own, anything that you see as suspicious, you can bring up the city budget or any other ad hoc matters as assigned. Public safety, provide policy recommendations on legislative matters relating to police, fire, emergency services, public safety facilities, animal control, or other matters as assigned. I am getting all of this verbatim out of the resolution that created these committees. Public Works, responsible for physical services and improvements provided by the city, such as street and alley maintenance, sidewalks, sewer, water, and flood control projects, operations facilities, fleet, and other matters as assigned. And then community development, matters relating to community development, planning and land use, annexations, code enforcement, block grants, business improvement districts, emerging business enterprises, and other matters as assigned. And then lastly, we have the City Lodging Tax Advisory Committee. This recommends spending for any of the state shared revenue occupancy tax collected by hotels and short-term rentals to increase overnight stays in Sumner. So it's all meant to add to the tourism industry. This is one that's also set by state law of who has to be on this committee. It has to be comprised of 2 potential users of the funds, so destination marketing organizations, and then 2 collectors of the funds, so hoteliers or short-term rentals. Those positions are appointed annually in April. So today, you will be able to select one person from council to be that chairperson. They typically meet only 1 to 2 times a year. Also, as a reminder, most of our lodging tax actually goes to Pierce County for allocation. I could give a whole nother presentation on why that is, but just know that most of it goes to Pierce County. Only 2% of what is collected on hotel room nights is allocated by the city. Our current meeting schedules are as follows. They're all at 4 o'clock, and I'm not going to go through each of them. This is not as important as what committee you want to be on, because each committee at their first meeting will decide when are they going to meet. But the first meeting is according to this schedule. So if you choose Public Works, you have a meeting tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Wow. Tomorrow you can decide to move it to a different day on a reoccurring basis. So your rules are kind of, they're largely silent on how these committees are selected. But I'll tell you, in years past, historically, it's done by seniority, with the most senior person going first and going all the way down through the lowest seniority and then starting back up at the top again. So that is what staff is prepared for today. If council desires to do something different, that is something that we can all discuss right now. So we do run into a bit of a problem. We do have some council members with equal seniority. And when that happens, we've flipped a coin to determine that order. So the seniority for tonight is Elfers, Ranke, Wilsey, Hochstetter. They flipped a coin. And then Evers and Kenna. Evers and Kenna are a little unique. They are in 4-year seats, which means they will Evers will select first this year. And in 2 years, Kenna will select first. That's how we've done it historically. You might be wondering, okay, we have a vacancy on council. How does that work for that person, whoever gets appointed? Future council appointee can be swapped in with anybody. So that's something that can be worked out at a later date and time. It just requires a vote of council to say, well, this new council member is going to take my position on X committee. Okay? First off, any questions on the process?
I'm sorry. All right, can I speak?
Councilmember Evers.
I just had a question. This, having done this before, but there's an alternate, right? This is a very, very small thing, but the people used to choose to be alternates, and then they weren't on any committees, and then people were on like 3 or 4 committees. So that's a very small thing for my first meeting, but I was just curious if there's any rules regarding that or not.
Like I said, your rules are largely silent on this. I can tell you politically, what I've seen happen is it's not always the most popular if you always just choose an alternate spot.
Okay, so I wouldn't be after a good start. Okay, thank you.
Your choice. Any other questions on process?
Councilmember Ranke.
So we're going to fill this out completely with all of us, and then the new person would just take maybe 1 or 2 of the spots.
That is how your rules are written.
Okay. I just want to
You can
clarify.
always-
Thank you. Okay.
This is a council process.
Yeah.
Any other questions on process? So on the dais, you do have a copy of this if you want to follow along. Mr. Steffens is also going to stop sharing and try to fill it in real time. So
Okay.
we'll do our best. So with that going, the clerk will go through the seniority list. When you're ready, Mayor, you just give us the go-ahead.
Will the clerk please call the roll in the order prescribed?
Point of clarification, are they picking their committees at this time?
Yes.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Elfers.
Finance and Personnel member.
Councilmember Ranke.
Public safety.
Councilmember Wilsey.
Community development.
Councilmember Hochstetter.
Community development.
Councilmember Evers.
Community development.
Councilmember Kenna.
Public Works.
And my understanding, we're going back up or we're starting at the top?
Start at the top.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Elfers.
Public Works.
Councilmember Ranke.
Finance personnel.
Councilmember Wilsey.
Public safety.
Councilmember Hochstetter.
Public safety.
Councilmember Evers.
Public Works, please.
Councilmember Kenna.
Community Development alternate.
Deputy Mayor Elfers.
City Lodging Tax Advisory Committee.
Councilmember Ranky.
Public Works alternate.
Councilmember Wilsey.
Public Works alternate. Is that full?
That is full.
Finance and personnel alternate.
Councilmember Hochstetter.
City Lodging Tax Advisory.
Alternate.
Alternate.
Councilmember Evers.
I don't know what's left.
You have,
We have a public safety alternate or a finance and personnel member.
I think I'm on 2 committees already, so I'll do, is it public safety alternate?
That is correct.
I'll take her.
Councilmember Kenna.
All right, I think I've got finance left. I'll take that. I'll take that.
Good.
There you go.
We are complete.
all right, thank you, Mayor.
Wasn't too bad.
All right.
I think that's it.
Thank you, everyone. So now we're going to move on to the Pierce County Regional Council representative selection. I will call on City Administrator Jason Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the last committee appointment tonight. It's for the Pierce County Regional Council. Your rules set forth that council will appoint people to regional committees unless it's a committee that the mayor is a member of, and then either she is a member of that or she can kick it back to council. So just for reference, the mayor is on the South Sound Housing Affordability as well as the Pierce County Economic Development Board. The other regional committee that we have a seat on is South Sound 911 under an interlocal agreement between the cities of Bonnie Lake and Fife and us. We do 4 years on that, and we take 2 years off. We're in the middle of our 2 years off, so we'll be asked to appoint somebody to South Sound 911 this time next year. So tonight it's just the Pierce County Regional Council. It's established to fulfill collaborative planning requirements under the Growth Management Act. They review and recommend countywide planning policies as well as centers. And then they also get the task of recommending allocation of federal transportation grants. We need to appoint a primary and an alternate to this committee.
Thank you. Is anyone interested in this appointment? Councilmember Ranky.
Well, I'm interested, but I want to nominate Kenna for the alternate.
And Mayor, if I may, I forgot to mention, there is no formal nomination process for this. This is really who is interested to be the primary and the alternate, and then it does require a vote to ratify that. So
Okay,
if you are interested, don't wait for your neighbor to nominate.
I'll throw my name in the hat then, I guess. I thought we were just voting for primary.
Okay. Councilmember Kenna.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, let's just be super awkward about it. I'm happy to be an alternate, but we've got some newer council members. I'd love to know if they are interested. I know I spoke with Deputy Mayor Elfers, who I think is committed elsewhere and has, enjoyed his time on the regional council, but is maybe looking to open this seat up, of course. So I don't think he's interested. But I would be more than interested in seeing if other council members would want to have a conversation about it.
I'm going to say not at this time for me, thank you.
Councilmember Hochstetter.
Very kind of you, but no thank you for now.
All right. Is anyone interested in the alternate?
So Mayor, I have,
Well, seeing nobody speak, I will gladly be Councilman Ranke's alternate if he'll have me.
so Mayor, just for clarification, we have for the primary, Councilmember Ranke. For the alternate, we have Councilmember Kenna and Councilmember Evers that have expressed interest.
I'm happy to step back. I think that's what I was waiting for. So, yeah, Councilmember
That was the
Evers.
impression I got, so I wasn't trying to step on your toes if you were.
Not at all.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I'll remove my name from consideration for the
Thank you.
alternates.
Thank you, Councilmember Evers.
So we do need to vote on this, which is even going to be awkward.
Yes.
So let's vote on the first one is the primary. So the clerk will call the roll, and people will need to say Councilmember Ranke's name. Unless he's rethinking, I see his finger.
No, I just have a quick clarification.
Yes.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Clarification question. Does this meeting coincide with any of the committee meetings? Those, what do they normally meet? Andy, do you know?
It does not.
I think it's the third, it's on the 15th this month, so it's the third Thursday of every month at 6 p.m.
Okay. And
It is virtual. There is an in-person option, but I don't think very many people take it.
okay.
When you're ready to vote.
I just want to verify. Thank you.
Yep.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Elfers,
Ranke.
Ranke,
Ranky.
Wilsey,
Ranky.
Evers,
Ranke?
Hochstetter,
Ranky.
Kenna.
Ranky.
And then you need to do a similar vote for the alternate.
Okay, so for the alternate, will the clerk please call the roll?
Elfers,
Evers.
Ranke,
Evers.
Wilsey, Evers,
Evers?
Hochstetter,
Evers.
Kenna.
Evers.
Congratulations, Councilmember Ranke, and congratulations, Councilmember Evers. Thank you. Okay, we will now move on to reports. So, Councilmember Kenna.
Yeah, sure. Let me get my notes. I'm so out of step with this at this point. It's been a month and a half off. I am extremely happy to be back here with some new faces, with some older faces, but in new spots. So I think that's great. The change is good, and really thankful for all of your service and the time that you've put into, serving Sumner. Even those who it didn't work out this time, those who put their time and effort and experience on the table to work for Sumner, I think is a great thing. And I know in previous years we've had some positions where there was multiple positions, even the mayors, where there wasn't anybody that really ran, and people ran unopposed. So I think it's great to have some competition and people wanting to serve this city. So just wanted to say that out the gates. I can't recall, my memory is fading at this juncture, but I can't recall if we were here after the football team won their state title back-to-back, and I wasn't here in office as well, so I just want to say congratulations to that team, and really fantastic that little old Sumner can say that we've got back-to-back state champions. I think we can be quite proud of that. I grew up in Spokane, and my high school was a 4A school. And Spokane's a large city. We never had a good football team when I was there, as much as they tried. But when I moved to Sumner, I was always surprised. Oh, we got a 4A team. That's quite interesting for a smaller town. And then I quickly realized, oh yeah, we in all the sports, basketball, soccer, football, the ones that I try to keep up with and look at the standings and things like that, we compete. And I think that says a lot about the kids we have in town, the coaches and the teachers that are committed, and just how the community gets behind it. So congrats to them. Again, Jason, you and your staff, fantastic job to get us through the storms. And we had a bad rain yesterday that kind of gave me give me some flashbacks about what we experienced a few weeks prior. So I'm hoping that kind of got through the season there. But really thanks to the staff. I know in particular, Jason, you highlighted this, but the communications folks and the ones on social media and the amount of work that you did, dropping into those comments, as Jason alluded to, and seeing that nearly every individual comment was responded to with resources, trying to say, hey, I think what you've heard is not correct. Here's what we know right now. Really being diligent about that, I think, was a real service to the community. So I was really proud to call myself a resident and upcoming council member as well. So thank you, and I'll pass the baton.
Deputy Mayor Elpers.
Yeah, I think it's been a really, thinking about teams, just kind of tagging along there. I think we have a lot of teams this year that have done really well in the region and locally. I'm thinking about the Mariners, thinking about the Seahawks, obviously the Spartans. So it's been a really fun year in that way. So I hope that continues. I just also want to acknowledge the folks that are on the team now. We just swore in a new judge, so we're excited about Judge Barry. So looking forward to that, and then looking forward to working with Mayor Bowman and council members Evers and Hochstetter and Wilsey, and continuing to work with others. So I think we have a good team here on council. I'm looking forward to just having good discussions and hopefully making good decisions this year, and have a good team on staff. I think one of the unique things about Sumner is their staff. Senior staff has been here 20 plus years, and I think just similar to the football team where Coach Ross was there when he was assistant coach in 1999 when I was there. So he's still there. So I think the length of somebody being in the same spot really does add a lot of value. So I think the city has a great team in that way. So thanks for letting me take the role of deputy mayor, and I hope that it's a really good 2025. Thanks.
Thank you. Council Member Evers.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm excited to be up here. I really am, and to come away with the alternate for the Pierce County Regional Council this made my day today. So thank you. Seriously, I've known several of you for many years. I won't point out names. I've known several of you for a couple of years, and I've known some of you for a couple of months. And I just think this is a great group, and I can tell even the ones I've just met care about Sumner, and to me, that's the number one thing to sit up here. So I'm just looking forward to it. And thank you to my wife for coming to this meeting. You might not see her at another meeting again, but and I had a surprise visit from 3 friends too that just showed up, and they're long gone, but they surprised me. That felt good though. So I'm looking forward to it, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Council Member Ranke.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to say, hope everybody had a great Christmas and a Happy New Year. Holidays are always a fun time of year. And I would like to also say congratulations to Mayor Bowman, Hochstetter, Evers, and Wilsey, council members. Looking forward to working with all of you this next year in 2026. And that's all I really have right now. Thank you.
Council Member Hochstetter.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Bowman. I just wanted to say thank you to the staff again for all their efforts with the flood. We're sitting up here on the council, and we've got citizens out here, and we've got our staff. And, I serve as coach at the high school, and to echo Councilmember Elpers, it really is Team Sumner, and we don't really realize that until we have these moments. It's kind of a shame it takes these moments of emergency to realize football teams, local churches, city staff, residents, we got to call on neighbors like Bonnie Lake, who may be our rival when it comes to sports, but then when there's a flood, we're all on the same team. So I really want to say thank you to staff. And as becoming a new council member, they gave us an orientation where we got to meet the police department, the animal shelter, the water waste facility, the maintenance, public works, and I'm a people person. So we sometimes we see graphs, we see reports, we see names behind official-looking emails. But it was so wonderful to get face-to-face with people and just see the people who put their pants on every day, keep the city running. And I was really impressed with the overall culture of the staff, and it made me proud to serve here on the council. And I know everyone that stepped up here, we may discuss things and get down to the brass tacks, but we're all here because we love Sumner and Team Sumner. So thank you to the staff. Thank you for the opportunity to serve.
Thank you. Councilmember Wilsey.
I'm not good at public speaking, so this is a challenge outside my box, so you guys will definitely see that. I, again, want to just mirror what everybody else has said up here. Thank you guys for all your hard work. I can't imagine 24-hour shifts. Haven't had to do that, so thank you guys for stepping up when, you know, the community needed you. Just want to remind the community that shop small. It is the slow season for retail, and our community is an amazing place. So come on down, check out the small businesses. You know, we got some things that the box stores don't, so check us out. Thank you.
Thank you. City Administrator Jason Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The kind words are very much appreciated. The staff that watch these council meetings tomorrow or even right now do appreciate the kind words. We all love Sumner. Even if we don't live here in this community, we spend a lot of time here, and we definitely feel it's our home. So we're definitely Team Sumner. So thank you. Coming up next week at your study session, we're going to be talking about the 2026 refuse and recycling rates. Murray's Disposal will be here to talk to you more about that. We'll be talking about the use of the Transportation Benefit District funds that are going to be collected in 2026. You'll be discussing the council vacancy process and the next steps to fill the vacancy created by Mayor Bowman's election. And then we'll be bringing back ordinance number 2938, which is the donation, naming rights, and sponsorship ordinance. That was postponed back in November till next week. At the January 20th regular council meeting, I want to point out that is on a Tuesday because Monday is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So on that Tuesday, you'll be considering the 2026 refuse and recycling rates, as well as setting a resolution, a resolution setting a hearing date for a road vacation. With that, I have nothing else unless there's questions from council.
Thank you. Okay, so I would just like to say I'm looking forward to working with our new council as well as our incredible city staff. Almost immediately after the election, numerous transition meetings began between myself, City Administrator Jason Wilson, and a number of the city department leaders. I've also had the opportunity to meet with state representatives and state legislators, of which City Administrator Wilson and Communications Director Carmen Palmer have been attending with me. I'm also meeting with multiple city partners to ensure we continue to have the valuable partnerships necessary to move forward as a strong community. And there are quite a few of them. So a lot of meetings are going on so I can get up to speed. And I really appreciate the people that are helping me set these up and are going to them with me. We've got a lot to do. And you know, this is the year of the horse. So we're going to run like the wind. I'm going to talk about the EOC for a minute, though, because that was a huge operation. And it was actually quite emotional to watch it when I would come in here. It was just really something else. I would thank all the city workers for being so proactive. That's the city staff, the workers out there, versus instead of just being reactive. And so myself, I don't know who here was actually impacted by the floods, but I recall on a Tuesday morning of that week, I got a call at 3:30 a.m. from my oldest granddaughter, and they were being evacuated on the river in Puyallup. And I thought, I don't know what to tell her to do. You know, it's 3 a.m. She's waking me up. I'm thinking, thank God she's okay, but they needed to move their cars all to my house. I thought, and she's in unincorporated Pierce County, just on the other side of the bridge. I thought, who does she call? Who does she call? And I thought, oh, I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't do this. But at 4 a.m., I texted City Administrator Jason Wilson, and I said, are you awake? And about that long, and he said, yes, can I call you? I didn't know what to tell her, you know, so I was able to reach out, and that's just how proactive our city was with our communication and the availability that, and he knew, you know, she lived over in unincorporated Pierce County, but I said, has anybody come and talked to you? She's right on the Puyallup River. She said no. So I thought, oh boy, we got to get that word spread. So I kind of, not through the city, threw out a few little bleeps of we need to let these people know what they need to do. But what went on in this EOC was absolutely amazing. So I think we just really need to take that to heart. So with that, I would say I'd like to thank Mayor Kathy Hayden for her numerous years of service, and I'd like to thank all of you, and I hope you all have a Happy New Year. So I would like to close the meeting of January 5th, 2026 at 7:24 p.m.